I am Jason Abraham, the Shadow Teacher 33. Those who enjoy my content on this Shadow Teacher 33 channel, this channel which is devoted to human potential, you could say I look at three categories of the human experience. Number one is the category of how we are deluded, how we have been deceived. And topics under this umbrella go into just looking at belief systems that we've accumulated over our life that are not necessarily based in truth, that are simply ideas we've accepted as how things are. Traumas that we carry, the dusty lens of trauma that we see the world through and may have not healed or examined, also is under this umbrella. Doing shadow work, healing trauma, healing wounds in our psyche, bringing the unconscious to light. And conspiracy, looking at how forces in the world have conspired. Two or more forces have conspired for the sake of gaining power over our resources, our perception, our energy, our attention. So this is the first umbrella that I explore. The illusion, the grand illusion. I am the warrior of truth and the grand illusion. Second category is the truth. Spirituality. Oneness, the truth of how things actually are. A truth that expands and goes beyond my individual perception, my individual filter, unifying truths that you can find in all spiritual disciplines, narratives, myths that point to something greater than the words themselves. This is where the exploration of God, oneness, source, comes in. And last but not least is personal development. And personal development is how our individual ego relates to source, relates actually to both of these factors, doing its shadow work, healing itself from delusions, and relating to something bigger than this individual filter that I'm perceiving the world through, something that's beyond this entity that believes it's Jason Abraham, but at the same time honoring this individual expression. It's the paradox of aligning with something bigger and allowing that something that's beyond to express itself in a unique way through me. That's kind of this personal development sphere. And one of the things I did earlier in the year is I was doing an exercise, a personal development exercise, and I was writing out intentions, writing out what I wanted to create as a conscious manifester. And I had one category of what I wanted, and in the opposite category, I had everything I didn't want. And I'm filming on a stormy day, and this is intentional. I love filming on stormy days because these storms, these rainstorms, are a reminder. Sometimes our best laid plans are laid to waste. I was a big fan of the show The A-Team when I was a kid, and Hannibal, the leader of the A-Team, said, "I love it when a plan comes together." And I, Jason Abraham, I love it when my intentions come together, and that happens sometimes. But sometimes best laid plans are laid to waste. Sometimes a force of nature just shows up and blows away all of your best intentions, all of your best ideas, all the preparation you have made for something you want to build and create in your life. And you could be standing tall one day and then brought to your knees the next. These experiences are humbling. The storms of our lives are humbling. And when we're in this personal development sphere, it is a paradox and a tightrope. On one side, we have building what we want, affirming what we want to create. And then the other side, we have these humbling experiences where we're denied what we want. And there are all these manifestation channels on YouTube saying that you can create everything you want. But I find this not to be true. I find this a very narcissistic perspective. And I can say, yes, we are creators, but it doesn't exactly work the way as many popular manifestation channels make it out to be. If that was the case, everybody would be getting what our egos want. Our egos want to be safe. They want basically the same thing, to be safe. Our egos want to be admired. We want to be loved. And they want to feel like they're not going to die. They're going to live forever. Egos are this the narcissistic element of our personality. And it's the false self. It has a place in our life, has a place in this individual expression of what we are, but it's not all of who we are. There's something beyond that. And when I was going back, I was looking over that list. Initially, that did not feel good. It does not feel good when you feel like you're failing at your manifestation, when you're creating the opposite of what you actually want in your life. And the ego, the initial response is to throw a tantrum, get frustrated, to go into maybe a victim story. But if you're a conscious creator, if you're someone on this path of human potential, a better question to ask is to take a pause and to say, why is that? Why have I created the opposite? Why have I been successful in being an anti-manifester or creating the opposite of what I want? Why is that happening to me? Some can say that when you're getting the opposite, some says that's like the last test. Maybe that's the last test you're going through, that last bit of resistance. And that's God asking you, how bad do you want this? Do you really want this? And how bad do you want it? Some say maybe this is a good time to ask, why do I really want this? And do I really want this? Am I manifesting from the ego? Am I manifesting from these false beliefs that I've taken on from other people and other structures of society that are really not the core of what my soul wants to create and participate in? Is this really what I want? Sometimes this can be an invitation to ask this question. And sometimes the question is, am I manifesting from ego? Is this stuff I'm writing out that I really want, is this from ego or is this from source? Again, this is kind of going back to the previous question about false beliefs one's accumulated. And when we can take a step back and humbly look and reflect, then maybe we might find that what's happening when we're not getting what we want, when we're getting the opposite of what we want, we're being called into awakening. We're being invited to let go of a false identity, a false version of ourselves, so that something new, something better can show up in our lives. Something new that this false self is not capable of imagining, that's not capable of perceiving because of its limitations from what's come from the outside, from the illusion. It needs to let go. It needs to die. And we have to be humbled for that to happen. We have to be broken for that to happen. We need to fall to our knees and bow to something beautiful. Not out of shame, but out of conviction. God loves us. The real God does not force us to worship it or Him. The real God only has unconditional love for us in our experience in this life and invites us to be the greatest version of ourselves that we can be. And through conviction, We can be humbled, and we can be open to grace, and we can be open to something greater showing up in our experience than we ever would have imagined if we allow it. So these are some possibilities. If you ever experience what I just did, again, this not pleasant, not fun experience of realizing the point in your life right now, you've achieved everything you didn't want. And a big part of manifesting is we manifest what we believe on a deep level. We manifest what we are at that point in time, not what we want. So if you're getting the opposite of what you want, what do you need to become? What do you need to become? Who do you need to become? And are you willing to take the steps to be that person? And most importantly, are you willing to let go of this false version of yourself that's getting the opposite of what your heart is craving to feel alive and full? I'm going to let the winds blow and the rain fall. And I'm going to sit quietly today and reflect and enjoy my day. I wish you the best. I'll see you on the other side.